Good.
And welcome to another exciting installment of the Terrorisk podcast. With Carmen this time.
Yes, again.
This
How's it going, Chris?
Good. This is the first episode we're doing me and you, since I turned 33.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm actually really excited for it because, you know, it's a weird year, 33. Mm-hmm. It's the same age as Jesus was when he died.
Yeah. Was it 34?
I'm pretty sure it was 33. I'm 33.
Fuck. Yeah, you're probably right. Go on. Just avoid some Romans.
Yeah, and you know, it was a nice little birthday. Honestly, I just wanted to. I didn't even give a fuck about it at all.
Yeah.
I already had like a majorly good year since even before my birthday passed. So it's like I don't give a fuck. Let's see. Some highlights of being 33 compared to last year. I'm definitely a lot more fit, way better shape. I was already in pretty good shape this time last year, but now it's just gotten better, so that's fun. Last year I was actually worried by this time this year I would go back to being like a lot more materialistic and cynical but now I'm still pretty spiritual, I guess. You know, I still view myself as a soul having a human experience, so that's nice. You know, I'm glad that didn't change. Yeah, so that's good. This year though, compared to last year, was marked by a lot of, I think, not just for me but collectively, was marked by a lot of tension because of politics. I mean, I had a great time with it, you know, just watching like all the crazy shit go down, but I don't know if you're one of those like retarded queers, or if you're one of those like psychopathic conservatives or whatever, like, yeah, it's not a good time for you. You know, like, it's not.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mentioned this before on the podcast, but it's been a surprisingly chill election season, and for a long while it felt like there wasn't even an election going on.
Yeah, but then that fucking kid tried to like blow off Trump's head with a rifle, and that's like so much for that peaceful shit.
Yeah, I know. Big deal that did not end up getting reflected in the polls and was forgotten.
It did get reflected, though, in a very, very big way, because that happened, and Trump just got massive amounts of public support.
Yeah.
To the point where Joe Biden was so defeated before the election even started.
Well, they already had the disastrous debates. They're already thinking of pushing him out. There's definitely some back deal shenanigans going on. I know there's various articles or mentions of this, that like Nancy Pelosi was strong-arming him, saying that you could do this the easy way or the hard way. He retreated to his dacha, his house, his mansion in Rehoboth for like a week or two before the decision for him to leave was made. His initial press release, I think, did not mention Kamala becoming the nominee, and then immediately afterwards it was tweeted. I don't know if that was just an oversight on part of staffers or if it reflects a conflict within the White House, which I suspect might have been the case, that a bunch of people are unhappy with it. Allegedly, Obama is unhappy with her being moved in.
Yeah, well, who gives a fuck about Obama? He's basically just the new leader of the Pinkertons.
Yeah, he has. He's still a prominent party leader, though he is. He's one of the only presidents not to leave D.C. after his term ended.
Yeah.
Usually they go back to their home state or wherever else.
But he stayed.
Allegedly, it was because the younger daughter, I think that's Malia, maybe it was Sasha, was still in school, but I don't know about that, since he just kept his residence in D.C. for the entirety of the Trump administration, even with both of his kids off in college. And then he just releases his terrible year of books and movies and songs list.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
What did interest me, though, was how embedded Obama really was with like the new iteration of privatized military forces or executive branch backed fucking private investigators, shit like that. Like,
I do find it interesting that after the assassination attempt, Eric Prince of Blackwater, which has renamed itself to like Z and then to Academy, and then I don't know, probably has a few other renames.
Wasn't it like Triple Canopy or some shit?
Yeah, some shit. Eric Prince was making public statements basically saying, Mr. Trump, let me do your private security. And he didn't take him up on the offer, to my knowledge. But it's interesting that I thought my expectation after the assassination attempt was that Trump was going to hire his own private security.
Yeah, keyword on his own. Blackwater
Yeah.
isn't like Eric Prince isn't his crowd, his scene isn't Trump's. But
That's fair.
I do think like it's not like that. It's not like where one solid company goes from president to president and serves directly. I think it's every president literally establishes their own like outfit.
That would make sense. In addition to
The G-men and the Pinkertons and all that shit. So you
and
have
Secret Service.
Yeah, so you already have those guys, but then there's
Yeah.
also there because they can.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping them from going up to former military and being like, "Yo, I'll pay you X amount of dollars a year. Just start a company and hire
Be
your
cool
boys."
just to have a bodyguard.
Yeah,
I don't know. Assassination attempt, as I said, it seemed like it was going to have a huge impact, and then it kind of has faded from the public mind.
well, this is why I'm kind of looking back and like looking at the first assassination attempt, and I was like, it really would be the perfect plan to both get Biden out and to defeat Trump at the same time, because Kamala really might like actually do it.
Yeah, it would have been very interesting in the alternate timeline where,
If it was Biden against Trump, Biden would have gotten washed.
yeah,
Biden would have gotten straight scrubbed, yo. Like he would have. Oh man, it would have been embarrassing for Biden, honestly.
if Trump had died, I guess Nikki Haley was just going to be the obvious choice.
Yeah, but if Trump, it's more like if Trump had died, there would be like martial law in the streets.
Yeah, there would be. Well, how much would there be?
Are you serious? It would be crazy.
I mean, all the boomer Republicans would have their protests and riots. But
I'm not
they're
saying
gonna
people would.
bring
I'm not saying people would kill each other, but there would be like
unrest. Yeah,
like crazy amounts of unrest that would lead to like.
it would be a huge. You're right. It very well could have like cycling violence, even if it's
Bro,
just from retired vets.
If a random fucking like
it would be, yeah.
George Floyd could cause what he caused, like you're telling me like.
Well, George Floyd was under unique circumstances. Even putting aside
Okay,
any
more unique than
promotion of-
President Trump getting fucking shot. Like,
That's
in a
true. It
Very
would be a bit-
shady.
well, I mean-
it would be worse. It would be way worse.
People wanted an excuse to go out and protest. The other thing is that people who were young wanted to get out and protest. You would definitely have young Republicans out. Some other people would, who are maybe even apolitical. Would
It's
be
like imagine
outraged.
Mad Kyle Rittenhouses, like
Yeah.
instead of just Kyle Rittenhouse being like the one kid with the no, it's like imagine all of them like rioting.
Rioting where in like in the suburbs and mid-tier cities. I guess they could drive into cities, but
Well, that's another thing. People like to clown on the conservatives and the Republicans for what they did on January 6th, but compared to like
Yeah.
what, like fucking chimping out over a fucking.
yeah, and also it being isolated to the Capitol, not being this unprecedented level of rioting and destruction,
And
not
way
some-
more successful. Like they
Yeah.
actually pressed in, you know?
Yeah,
So yeah, funnily enough, I think conservatives are a little better with protesting.
well, they were able to pull that off, but I mean, they're also just centralized around one location. Security failure. I guess another factor would be that the summer of Floyd was heavily goaded on by the Dems.
I don't think it was really a security failure. I mean, look, if there was like a crack squad of commandos from Russia coming in to try to do what they did, then it would be a different story because they could kill those guys. No matter how many American like citizen, you can't just have Secret Service like putting bullets.
Well, they
in
did
them.
kill that one woman, the QAnon believing polyamorous Air Force vet, Ashley Babbitt. She was shot by a black Secret Service agent.
Yeah, but
I think another factor.
I think it's one of those things. It's like the fact that only one person got shot is like you guys got fucking lucky, and the fact that only one person got shot is like what the fuck was the Secret Service doing? They should have been lighting them up, you know, like.
The I mean, 2 other people I think died, and both of them were because they were too old to riot.
Yeah.
So they both like had heart attacks or something like that.
Yeah.
Um. But even then, I don't know. I mean, they pressed. It was. I feel
It's not
there
really.
should have been a lot more security
It's not a
posted
big-
at the Capitol. I don't want to
January
be
6th
suspicious about that.
January 6th wasn't even a big deal. Like,
No.
it wasn't. Yeah, so
I
what, a
mean,
few
it was
people-
the new 9/11, the new Pearl Harbor.
That's terrible. I don't believe in that. at
Yeah,
all.
I know. I liked all the jokes that when October 7th happened, people saying things like, now the Israelis know what it's like to have a January 6th.
That's funny, actually. That's really funny.
Not sincerely, but it's a great bit about it. Or about, speaking of security failures, October 7th anniversary is coming up.
What do you mean?
The Hamas attack on the Israeli raid.
I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, I know.
shit.
It's pretty tedious. I
I
was going
don't-
to say the most interesting thing is, once again, a security failure that I think it's Shin Bet, the Israeli. Tell me, are you bored of this? Do you not want to talk about Israel Palestine?
I'm not. It's not that I'm bored of it. It's just like, all right. No, what do you want to? What were you
I
gonna say?
want to not on any moralistic note. I'm just wanting to talk about the security failure there compared to the security failures at January 6th and the Trump assassination attempts.
Well, I mean, how are you gonna stop? Like, it's like as if like Canada wanted to kill us. How are you gonna stop that?
Well, they have Palestinians heavily monitored. They could have canceled the rave. They could have.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah, I know. For a state that's always partially mobilized like Israel, it seems like an astounding security failure.
No. First of all, ask yourself, why is Israel constantly vigilant? Why does everyone have to join the fucking military? Why?
Yeah.
It's because their country, their neighboring country. Like, I'm not saying this lightly. Imagine if everyone in Canada want to fucking kill us. Imagine if they were our mortal enemies. Like, imagine living.
That is a huge border as opposed to the small border, but still, yes.
I'm just saying, like, how are you going to rationalize? Like, no amount of security is ever going to fully reconcile with that. It's impossible. I don't care who you are. Like, short of nuking them, no, you're not going to do that either. There's no fucking way.
They heavily monitor the entirety of Palestinian society.
No, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Fair enough.
It's
and
not
I guess
enough.
the mobilization time. I mean, it's been a long
I'm saying
time since they had to
October
mobilize.
7th was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. It was you'd have to be retarded to think that could have ever been prevented forever. No. Never going to happen. It was bound to happen.
Yeah, I wonder. The scale of it is huge, which makes me wonder if they could have mobilized against it better.
So now you see how self-defeating that argument is. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, the scale of it was very huge. So what security, quote unquote, security measure short of an act of war would literally solve that? Nothing.
Yeah.
They were asking for it. Like,
Yeah.
yo, dude, yes, we could sit here and talk about how tragic it was. Yes, it was fucking tragic. But if you have half a brain, you would have looked at Israel and been like, this was bound to happen.
I know, that's what BB was betting on.
Exactly. And he got what he fucking wanted.
And we'll contrast the reaction to October 7th to the incredible play Israel's made against Hezbollah in Lebanon, where they're able to detonate all of their electronics in such a Looney Tunes fantastic way.
Yeah.
Um,
The beepers was pretty wild.
yeah.
That was crazy.
I know in part it's because Mossad was posted on Lebanon or posted on Hezbollah.
Well, okay. So what I would say also is that that's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Like, remember what I just said about how it's impossible to truly prevent a full it's also impossible for really fucked up retaliations.
Yeah.
It's impossible to prevent that too. So it's a two-way street. Yes, we can't stop you from a bunch of fucking hang gliders with AK-74 rifles and just coming in and lighting up on ravers. We can't stop that, but you can't stop us from blowing up fucking beepers in your kidneys and shit next to your
Yeah,
kidneys.
the rules of polite engagement are long off the table.
Yeah, so it's essentially inevitable.
Do you think Hamas was more successful than they intended? That they only wanted to kill 30 Israelis and take more hostages. so that if they had a smaller death total, maybe more hostages, then they would get better PR internationally.
You know what I really think?
What's that?
I think groups like Hamas wouldn't do things like that unless like that kind of aggression, unless A, they were fed good intel, or B, they were fed bad intel, like purposely bad intel. So it's one or the other. But it wasn't. But it didn't originate from them. It did. They did.
I agree.
It's like saying it's like looking at a retard rob a bank successfully. It's like, you're telling me this guy planned this. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and they have all these teens who are amped up on amphetamines flying in, which is probably one of the reasons why they have such high death total. I wonder. I don't fully believe, or actually, I don't fully believe it was not a false flag attack, but an attack that was allowed to happen by the ruling party.
Yeah.
For political gain. But I am willing to consider it.
You could literally orchestrate this shit. That shit was like,
even then, an outright false flag.
I'm not even gonna look at the ratios, because that's so watery. Like, where even 50-50 odds, where it's either orchestrated or it was a natural, organic byproduct of what Hamas themselves wanted, which I highly fucking doubt. I think, again, they were given the right intel or the wrong intel. One or the other. Purposely, like, intentionally the wrong intel. Because that attack, like, had to happen for a lot of things to happen, right?
Yeah. It did. Everything that's happened this past year.
So, I mean, is it orchestrated to the level of, like, reptilian overlords and aliens? I'm not sure. But
I don't think so. I'm just going with the Jews did it.
Nah, like... You could.
What do you mean, Israelis, the Zionists?
I'm just saying, it could be anybody. It could. I mean, I'm not talking about like on a national basis. It could be private, like privateers, a group of like top secret, super. Like, we can't even call them rich anymore. Like, we would just call them, like, I don't know, something other than human.
Yeah.
Because if you have access to like unlimited resources, that's, what are you gonna do with that? You know, you're definitely not gonna do human shit. You're gonna do like all sorts of crazy shit. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I think the simplest, most materialist explanation is the corporate thing. But I don't know. Like, normally I would just like be satisfied with that, but I'm really not, because some of the stuff is like cartoonishly evil, like comically evil. It's not even comically evil for no reason. It's comically evil because it's like, it's literally. It's almost divine in its complexity, and it's in like meaning, in its meaning, in terms of like how it plays out in its like evil nature. There is a divine aspect to it, because it does touch the very intimate, deepest parts of us in terms of like, I don't know, like harvesting, like the whole shit with child sex trafficking, and the whole shit with like, you got celebrities and whatever, and you make them like fuck kids in front of a camera, and suddenly you own them. Like, you own their soul. Yeah. No matter how you cut it. Like, materially, you would look at that situation. Oh, it's like, oh, you just got some like blackmail on them. But it's more than blackmail. We know that, because there is no worse blackmail. There is no worse blackmail in society. They know that. The people who are orchestrating this, they know that. And it's not that they purposely wanted to be kids. They just know, what's the worst thing that we could possibly capture these people doing? It's going to be this. And it is truly that. You know, because you like, on the fundamental level of like that act, you're literally taking away the innocence and the chance of a child's well-being ever, you know, to like manifest for their whole lives. Like, you're taking that away. And that's like, I'd be hard pressed to think of something more evil than that, you know, in terms of what you could do to your fellow man. So it's like, that being said, it is spiritual. It absolutely, there is a fucking demonic or angelic element to all this shit. Like, and you may not believe in it, but the fact is, the people who orchestrate this shit, they absolutely do.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can't just like shrug it off as like, oh, it's probably not that. I mean, maybe it probably isn't that, but I mean, like, the more you learn about it, the more you dig into it. I mean, even if it is like a false breadcrumb, it's a very nuanced fabrication of like false evidence and like a false narrative. But fucking A, man. I mean, this is not even shit that really is novel to humanity in the modern world. Like, this is shit that's been written about in the ancient to sacred texts.
So there's an ancient race of aliens who hate the Jews.
No, I'm not talking about the aliens, man. I'm talking about the pattern, the this tendency.
Well, I'm making that argument, but go on, please.
Well, the tendency of like this weird cabal that's beyond billionaires, that's beyond countries, right? Their power transcends that. And their pattern, whether you see this in the military, in occult circles, or in government,
Yeah.
in Hollywood, in the music industry, whatever, that the same satanic ritual, like the pedophilia shit. Like that's such a common pattern. It's such a common thing, and you see it in all aspects that run society, from a cultural level to a corporate level.
Yeah.
Dude, this is you like you could deny it, like be like, no, they're not, there's no crazy satanic influence within the major powers. They're absolutely,
I could definitely see it.
It's proven.
Yeah.
It's proven. There's
The
literal
pedophilia
evidence.
focus is such a bizarre one.
What?
The pedophilia focus. But it
I
makes sense for
but
blackmail.
I just explained it.
Yes, I know.
it's
No,
the
you did. Yeah.
No, on a spiritual level, it's the worst thing you could do as a human being.
True. This is why all the people that are into like sex parties are so inherently sleazy and creepy.
I mean, yeah.
There's some level of like, once you engage in that level of sexual depravity, I don't know, it becomes your entire thing. You just really it becomes your main hobby.
I think that's like, all right. So we're not talking about celebrities, right? We're just
Sorry,
talking about regular
yes.
people that are into sex parties and shit. Yeah, I mean,
Or anything when they get too far into I'm just slut shaming people here, but yeah.
no, it's fine. It's just, I mean, I look at that.
Or especially P. Diddy's freak out parties. Is that a higher? I'm sorry, finish your sentence. I'm sorry, stop interrupting.
No, I was thinking, okay, so the sex party thing, right?
Yeah.
And how the people who go to that are sleazy. I was thinking like the people who are involved in like a lot of that kink shit, they're all damaged as fuck. And
Yeah,
they
they are.
And they're just using the sex shit as a cope, they call it healing. They're like, oh, this is a way of empowering myself and taking control. It's like, you're still just doing weird shit for kicks. I mean,
Yeah.
when you don't have to.
A lot of them aren't that. I mean, some are
But here, no.
attractive,
But listen. Like,
Go ahead.
I'm of the state where even an average person will look at me and say, I think you're going a little too far in the ego death there, buddy. It's like, yeah, I might, compared to the average person. Like, I view everyone ultimately as the same soul living
Yeah.
out different lives in different bodies. So, like knowing that's what I fundamentally believe, I could look at a hot woman and yeah, we may have sex, but fundamentally I know it's like we're just different versions of each other. I mean,
Yeah.
like once you believe in that, it takes away the whole I feel like that's one of the sacrifices you make with like a non-duality existence, because when you're living in 3D, when you're living in that chance of like of lack, of the scarcity and all that shit, it's more romantic in a sense. Like, what am I willing to sacrifice? I'm willing to sacrifice my money and my time and my body and this and that for my lover. It's like, it's all ego shit. It's like we're really fundamentally just leaning on the differences, the material differences. That's the only way romance works, is to forget enough of your true self for that to take place. Anyway, so like that, there's a huge range.
It makes all sex masturbatory.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is. Everything from like overeating to sex, that's all becomes very masturbatory, which is true. So anyway,
But you do the unique bonding or connection with another person during sex.
exactly. Well, I mean, you can do that, but they say it's. I would assume it's just as beautiful if you were in a non-duality state and your partner was as well. Then apparently you stare into each other's eyes, like literally just doing nothing else, not kissing or anything, just stare into each other's eyes. It's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
It's like two mirrors looking at each other.
Mm.
That's pretty fucking profound if you ask me. And apparently that generates like massive amounts of chi. Like that generates massive amount of intention or creative energy. So that's why like a lot of like Taoists would have like sexual practices. They would have two people in a certain state of altered consciousness engage in sex, and that would supposedly build up a lot of chi, which honestly makes cool, and it makes sense in a cool, mysterious way, like an indirect way. But yeah, as far as the sex party shit, I think like when you're so far like in your densest state, like the average person would be like kind of in a dense state, but not too far down where they're a victim. Because once you're a victim, you're fucked. You're sexually fucked. And the reason why when you're a victim, you're fucked. It's because a lot of your fear has to do with your root chakra. Is it your root chakra? Oh, it's your crotch chakra. It's like
that's root.
It's your anus.
It's root.
Yeah, it's your anus root chakra. Yeah, it's where all your sexual intention and energy is located on your body. If you look at the whole 7 chakra points going vertically down the body, so that one is primarily blocked by fear. So if you're, and it makes sense too in a literal, like if you're scared, you're not going to be horny. Like if you're running for your life, the last thing you're thinking about is making babies or getting laid. It's true. It's like you're like, dude, I'm about to die. I can't fucking, Same goes for poor people. Same goes for people who have anxiety. Same goes for people who don't know if they're going to get their cocaine, by the end of the day.
Yeah, all their addictions and addictive behavior. Yeah.
So what that really tells you, which is why it's nefarious, which is why you can start believing it's all like demonic. To really like fuck with a person, you don't even have to touch them. You just have to put them through like narratives and make them believe it. Certain narratives, and if they believe that narrative, they're fucked. They're absolutely fucked. And you just think about the fear thing, like we just said. Like, there's people who have experienced like life-threatening situations, and then they got out of it, and they could get horny again. Then there are those people who never was in a life-threatening situation, who just somehow got a really shitty job, and they don't know if they're going to get the promotion. They don't know if they're going to get a girlfriend. They don't know if they're going to be able to, and they're still suddenly activating the same survival mode as if they were out in the wild, surrounded by predators. So yeah, it fucks you up the same exact way. Music does this to you. Movies do this to you. Like all the media does this, like is pretty much geared to do this to you, is to put you in a survival state, which makes you sterile.
Yeah. All these.
And so when you're like sterile, that's when you have to go to sex parties and kinks and shit to get up to actually go through. You need harder and harder stimulus to counteract that survive, because you don't know, you're so oblivious to your own causes, your own causalities, that you don't understand that the habitual shit you do to yourself is blocking your root chakra, because you don't even know if you believe in chakra. Like, you don't even know what you believe in. You don't even know yourself. You don't even know your own fucking soul. So it's like when you're in this state of just like complete the opposite of like Gnosticism, like just complete oblivion, like pretty much, of your higher self. Like, that's fucked. That's a fucked existence, and you're gonna be sexually broken. It's going to manifest in some fucking weird kink or weird sexual dysfunction or some shit.
I wonder how much people going to sex parties or kink are because they're not attractive and they need that to turn themselves on.
Is that not a form of trauma?
It is.
It's
a trauma from being unattractive.
No, it's not even just a trauma. That's a constant source of anxiety. Like, what if I'm going to die alone? What if it's the same shit. It all boils down to that same shit.
Yeah.
So if you resolve that within yourself first in a healthy way that doesn't involve overstimulation to the max, like, dude, then that's the better way to do it. Which is what I only know this shit because I wanted to make sense of what was happening to me. Not because I was looking to get healed. I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't looking for God. I wasn't looking for spirituality. I wasn't looking for my soul. I was literally just trying to win a fucking martial arts tournament. And in the process, I just wanted to max out every single chance of winning, which was what I had to eat better. I had to think better. I had to be less distracted with bullshit that really didn't fucking matter or had anything to do with a sword tournament. And, I had to make sure I was brave, so I put something on the line. I told my friends and family I'd shave my head. So that was like, I did everything I possibly could. And in that process, it was like a cleansing. It was literally like a forced self-alignment that was unintentional of mind, body, and soul. And that's when like life just started rapidly changing, and I was like, it got so bad I was scared. So I looked into it. It's like what a spiritual awakening was, and what chakra points were. And I remembered like key points before that too. It wasn't like just one tip over like watershed moment. There was like key moments before that leading up to it. Like, for example, I watched this random Avatar episode, and Aang had to do the 7 chakra points, open each one, and each one was closed off due to some major emotional blockage. Like, start with your root chakra, that's fear. We just talked about that. Then after one is your solar plexus, I believe, which is going to be your blocked by fucking guilt, right? And then after the next one is blocked by shame. And then the next one up is blocked by after shame. I don't know. Then there's like lies, then there's illusion, then there's pride, the last one, which makes a lot of sense because like first you start with like the most basic like negative emotion that's blocking you, your sexuality, your creative energy. You release that, boom, the energy goes up to the next level, which is blocked by guilt. It's like, oh, I'm guilty. I don't practice enough. I'm not dedicated enough into what I love doing. Get the fuck over that. It's like everyone's got their own journey. Everyone's got their own divine timing. So, get over that guilt. Boom, break past that. Next is what? Shame. You're ashamed because you compare yourself to your friends and your peers who are doing better than you, especially if they walk a similar path as you, and you feel that shame. Boom, you get over that, and the energy travels upward is to your throat, where which is your throat chakra, which is your communication skills. You know, that pretty much like dictates your energy of communication and how you could use words to move people. And that's usually blocked by lies. You know, lies you tell yourself, and believing lies that other people tell you, that you're just you're a product of the environment, that you're just like an NPC, and in fact you're actually a co-creator in a god simulator. And then after that is illusion, which is the illusion of your third eye, which is like, it's the illusion of reality. You're living under a false reality. You think like matter is everything. It's not. You think you're just your body. You're not. You're an eternal being, a soul. And then once you move past that is your last one, which is blocked by pride. And you get over pride by understanding that your fellow humans and all life on this earth, we're all just the same soul living different lives in different lifetimes. And that's how you unlock your 7 fucking chakras. Which is essential. You got. Yeah. I mean, if you want to get to mastery, you have to open up all 7 of those points. And I just gave you guys a step-by-step like guide on what emotional blockages you have to confront. So you could just fucking rewind this. So like at any time, just fucking remember that.
Very good, very succinct, and I need to do that very much myself.
Everyone
I mean,
does.
I'm fully caught in the root chakra.
Everyone does.
Yeah, as many people are.
Well, that's why the last step is essential. Because when you get to the last point, pride, the reason why it's pride is because remember, you just opened up 6 of your blockages. That's a lot. So you're already a pretty powerful being at that point. However, what could end up happening is like, oh, you know, like now that I could see, like their suffering is no longer my suffering. You know, I could see things that they can. I see the bigger picture, so fuck him. You know, like that's a very dangerous position to be in. However, when you remember, it's like, oh, they are me and I am them. They're just different versions of me. We're just the same soul living different lives in different bodies. Yeah. So that's a very, you know, maybe not simple, but it's an effective way if you really contemplate that just a little bit. Then it would really help get over the last blockages, which is pride, which is how you stop spiritual bypass. Spiritual bypass is how you get like those satanic cults who understand they understand the power up until a certain point. They don't want to go here. They just want to stop at the third eye opening, because the third eye opening already puts you in a pretty powerful place. So they don't want to like do the last step and lose their individuality and go full God mode, because they like, you know, they want to run shit.
Yeah.
You know, they want to be billionaires. Like, and all of these powerful people, they all know about this shit. Like they're all well educated into like esoteric practices and wisdom. Like they literally go seek this out. Like a lot of them, this is why they're famous. This is why they're actually talented in what they do. Pop stars, a lot of them allude to their dabbling in witchcraft and shit. We think it's a fucking meme or a joke. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. That level of trying to achieve anything or claim anything.
And again, I did not seek this shit. This shit found
Came to you.
And I'm not even doing anything. I just really wanted to do something, which is come first place in a sword tournament, which is already a pretty aggressive goal, right? And and I put something on the line. I put my own pride on the line, and I had to accept the whole thing. The reason why it was such a difficult process is because every day leading up to that tournament, I had to accept the possibility of losing, and that was the true ego death. It was doing that every single day for months. Just like waking up to the possibility of losing and having to like admit that I was wrong about the outcome, but I wasn't. I fucking won. FYI, you know, like, so
yeah.
It's just such a beautiful thing. I'll never get tired of telling it, honestly, because I think like that's my service, you know, like as coming in contact with like source, the spiritual source energy. And if there was ever a will that was imparted onto me, call it God's will, divine will, my life purpose, whatever, it's to just embody that frequency. It's to embody that self alignment of mind, body, and soul so hard, it's so loud, where it's so fucking impossible to ignore. No matter who gets fucking annoyed by it, no matter who gets inspired by it, no matter how the fuck anyone fucking feels about it, I know I'm supposed to just like accelerate this and make this like more and more potent and cultivate that more and more, because I know, like, yeah, I know it's gonna piss off a lot of people, because I know what it does. I know what it's like to feel insecure on that deepest level, where you can't even like point to a thing and be like, well, you're just like this and you're just like this, and then that person just like, yeah, and you know, like, I get it. It must be very frustrating for a lot of insecure fucking people, but it's not to say I don't give a fuck. Like, trust me, I'm sympathetic. I consider all of this. I'm not like just trampling on people like without a second thought. I trample on people with a lot of, I'm very conscious about it. You know,
And
like,
you're not that sadistic about it.
no, because I'm only as sadistic as I have to be. In a
Right,
hostile-
you have the proper sensei level of sadism as you're beating the person with the boken.
Well, I guess that's true, but it's more like it's necessary. Otherwise,
I agree.
You'll just get ripped apart by, you know.
And you're very compassionate. You don't never go too far with
No, because I'm trying to be.
I'm
I'm trying to be helpful
control.
ultimately. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like I'm trying to like destroy people. I'm trying to fucking help people, but I know that's like a very destructive process at some point. That's why it's very hard, and it's very hard to strike a balance. And I get that, which is why I don't expect to do this in only one fucking podcast episode. This is a pattern that you have to maintain. It takes maintenance. It takes energy, like consistent generation, and which is what goes back to habits. You know, like physical habits, and the only thing you have to do in this modern world, guys, right? This is the beautiful part. You guys don't even have to like do anything extra. You just have to do less. Do less partying. Do less drinking. Do less going out. Do less dumb shit.
Yeah.
I swear to God, because we live in such a beautiful time. We don't have to learn how to farm. We don't have to learn how to hunt. We don't have to learn how to fish. But what we do have to learn how to do is stop jacking off to fucking internet porn. Stop giving OnlyFans bitches money. Stop fucking like draining your time on Instagram. Like all this shit. This is what we really got to learn how to do.
Yeah.
Because once we get over that, literally anything's fucking possible. And that's what they know. Like the powers that be know this. Like if the masses really do become aware of their true agency, that's a big problem for them. You know, suddenly they're not going to buy this shit every day. Suddenly they're not going to go and pay for eating like goy slop every day. Like they're not going to stand for it if they really knew, you know?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be even necessarily a violent uprising. It would merely be a quiet quitting from it.
Exactly.
Which, more devastating to a system based on consumption and growth.
But that's really what the transition was supposed to be. It didn't, like, the idea of fire and brimstone does make sense, like, you know, in Revelation's aspect. But look around you. In a certain sense, is it not already fucking fire and brimstone in a lot of fucking ways? We're already kind of living in hell. But at the same time, it's also fucking pretty damn good. You know, like,
in many ways it is a utopia.
So it's not about do we live in a bad world or do we live in a great world? It's your brain. It's like a radio. Which channel is it tuned to? Like in a car, you could sit in the same spot, tuned to different channels, and you're going to experience different broadcasts, right?
Yes.
Earth is life on Earth is no different. What is your mind, body, soul frequency, that vibration or whatever you want to call it? What is that tuned to? What channel? Is it channeled to the shit hell world that we live in? But is it tuned to the actual utopia that we also live in? You know, what is it tuned to? And to tune to that, the process isn't just as simple as turning a knob. That's the fucked up part. The process of turning that knob involves changing what you eat, jacking up to less porn, fucking not being a fucking dumb whore, not wanting to kill people,
not dwelling on your past,
not dwelling
a lot of psychological things, a lot of psychological addictions people have. We live in a very atomized, addictive society,
and being a little more proactive about your physical health, just a tiny bit, you know, like not too much,
just enough to keep your awareness of your physical body, as opposed people who spend too much time online really have a disconnect between body and soul.
Yeah.
And mind too, but soul and mind from the body, they disconnect especially.
I don't think it was just people on the internet.
It is everyone now, but yes.
I mean, I think I was going to say like this, you started to see this like when like the standard American family had TVs in their homes.
Yeah.
So like they literally did nothing else but sit on their couch with the TV dinners.
Radio too is an earlier form. People used to listen to radio all the time.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right.
No, I mean, what I'm getting at is this is a trend that's been going all throughout society since the turn of the 20th century.
I was just about to reply with like a defense to radio and comparing how it's different than TV, which is kind of is, but it's still like, yeah, it's the same road at the end of the day.
A lot of people back then used to sit and listen to the radio.
Well, I also feel like it generated a lot more social gatherings, because like, you know, all the kids at a local spot would tune to the local cool guy radio station. They would listen to the tunes, and then at the end they would be like, oh wait, he's turning it up. It's like
the dissemination of music through the radio.
They would be like, and for all you late night boppers out there, just so you know, there's going to be a secret show at that location. If you know, and then they play next. Like that's the kind of shit that made radio really special.
Yeah, and also coming from a society that didn't have it. I mean, you had newspapers and pamphlets, but that next level of communication technology.
Yeah, probably made a huge difference in Europe. You know, because Europe was always about counterculture, culture, politics, counter politics, and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yo, dude, did you know that you could actually track? They said you could track a lot of some period in France that was like intellectual period. I think it was like when leftism was forming. Like you could track it uh, by the area with like specific cafes, or like by which areas had the most
Yeah,
cafes.
because cafes were the forefront of socializing at the time.
Yeah,
And
it was peak.
dissemination of information. You see that with Protestantism is heavily
Sovereign House.
associated. Yeah, heavily associated with printing presses in those areas.
Yeah, that's what Sovereign House needs, a printing press.
Yeah,
Well, nowadays, what is really a printing press? It's just a webcam, an
Twitter.
an internet connection, you know?
Substack.
Yeah. Fucking YouTube channel. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
That's what I got to give myself some credit here. Like, at least I never became a Twitter guy. I just went straight to YouTube, which arguably was never scary to me. But then other people like started talking to me about it. It's like, yeah, I wish I could do it, but it's like, I don't know. I just don't. I feel like anxious about it.
YouTube's definitely brought a better choice commercially, but probably also for your soul, behaviorally.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean YouTube because it's more highbrow, you know, as far as internet content goes, because like it's a lot of this shit is long form content. It's not just like fucking minute long bullshit that you just scroll through. It's not like it's not like fast food. It's still faster than like actual movies and videos, but it's not quite. It's like
Yeah, you also have You have all those 7 hour long, excuse me, YouTube videos, which I know is based on ad monetization of the way that's formed. But
yeah, YouTube is crazy. YouTube is less like an actual like corporate platform to me, and it's becoming more like the town square of the internet.
yeah. You ever look through an old favorites list and all the videos are deleted?
No,
Old playlists, I should say.
has that happened to you?
Yeah, with YouTube.
Well, I would imagine it's because you follow a lot of degenerates, maybe.
No, stuff that wasn't degenerate from 5-10 years ago is just gone. Scrubbed due to some copyright claim or something like that.
Oh my god.
Or like I had a playlist from the 2016 election, which was just Jeb clips, and half of them were down. They were just hosted by news sites.
Yeah. I mean, most of my YouTube viewing was all tutorials.
Yeah,
And bike stuff. But the bike stuff is like, that was just basically also a form of tutorial for me because I was a bike messenger and I was like
yeah.
trying to like.
But no, the quality of information dissemination from YouTube is incredible.
Yeah. It's
say the least, not even,
it's
it's-
kind of heaven. It's like
Yeah.
heavenly, you know? It's almost, it's like something from the Lord. Shit. Like it's doing God's work.
Yeah.
But well, I think what's a lot of people talk shit about it, but I actually always have a soft spot in my heart for Facebook because Facebook's kind of like a streamlined blogging system.
Yeah. It's interesting how Instagram gained so much prominence, and a big factor is that it's stripped down. It's just the pictures.
Well, I mean,
Instagram minimizes the ability to get into arguments with people
that's true.
by design, I think, and also
It's more of a it makes it more
it's purely the visual photo book. It is, you have meme pages, but for people who are otherwise extremely online, and Instagram will be one social media will just be a normal person.
Yep. And then there's Snapchat, but I don't even use. I mean, Snapchat's terrible. It's probably really good for certain things, honestly. But
I don't know who uses it. High schoolers.
yeah, like people want to. I think it's fun. That's the one for bitches. Like if you
That makes sense.
If you want to mac it to some online bitches, you go to Snapchat. But fucking I think what I like about Facebook is it's self-contained enough where I could just like write and it's
You can
could
journal in it. Yes.
not even journal. It's like I mean, it could be whatever you want. If you just want to fuck with people, it'll give you a chance to do that. If you just want to help people, it'll give you an opportunity to do that too. You could literally do anything on it. You could stream, you could post long videos on it if you really wanted to. It's kind of crazy. Like it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any single social networking site that could do everything Facebook could do.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because it's a far older one, and yet they've split off into more specialized social medias.
Yeah, for
social
sure.
media sites.
Yeah, Facebook is becoming like the one, and
then TikTok is the one that I hate, but everyone is on.
No, I don't.
I mean, not even social. Well, I guess it is social media, but
I don't really like TikTok.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah, it's maybe someday I'll get into it. I'm not gonna like say never, because like at some point, I don't know, maybe I want to put clips of this show on TikTok because that'll be like an easy way to just get some views, you know? Pick out my best clips and just fucking post them up.
Right.
You're a Twitter guy for sure, though.
Yeah, I am. I'm extremely textually focused due to growing up on the aughts internet.
What does that mean, textually focused?
Focused on text.
Oh, okay. I mean,
more so, and the short form of it, yes, is junk food. But TikTok is too much video, too much sound. I just want to look at the individual tweets of people, and it's just like posting on a message board.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is like basically.
It's a farm. I mean, Reddit is the only site around for like specialty hobbies and interests. But I much rather, as far as this international message board goes, the large off-topic, the international off-topic forum.
This might sound crazy, but Facebook might actually be the best for actually socializing. Like just socializing.
I just completely abandoned Facebook because I found it tedious.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is pretty fucking tedious, to be honest.
Well, not even tedious. I lost interest in it as a platform.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, it could only like serve you for so long in one specific use, but
yeah,
I guess it was just useful for at this point in my time. I mean, I could see myself like drifting away from it. I mean, if it got to a point, like, because I look at it like I can afford to just give my ideas away. It's almost like a service for me. It's a community service, because
you're a philanthropist. You're giving out your riches of ideas to people.
I mean, these are ideas that help me.
Yes, yes.
So I know they have value. Maybe some people won't be able to figure it out. Maybe some people will, and that some people is worth it to me. So maybe there will come a time in my life where I can't do that anymore, where I just, for whatever reason, I got to stop doing that. And, if I did have to stop, I'd at least like to know that I got it out, and hopefully maybe people got some use out of it. And I got my pound of flesh back. It's not like it was completely free. Like I got to talk a lot of fucking shit as I like drip feed my little wisdom here and there. I'm like, yeah, I get to fucking, do my damage too. Because, I mean, you have to do a bit of damage for shit to sink in. Otherwise, people just like, it just doesn't really sink. And this is important shit because it's about like your holistic wellness. It's not even about like celebrities or politics or fucking anything like that. This is about your like, your health, wealth, and love life, I guess. I don't fucking know. Like, not
your whole being, your self being, your happiness, the whole of your real life.
Yeah, because I mean, what and that's what's crazy. This is why it feels like I have to do this, because I feel like I don't deserve it. I feel like I don't deserve what I had. But I mean, that's not true. I feel like for a bit that I didn't deserve it. But then, I got over that, and I was, of course, we're all the same, and this is the same journey we're all on ultimately. So once I got there and, made that realization, I was like, well, what do I do about it? How do I like just be grateful, and how do I express that gratitude? Well, I'll just give this shit out for free. I won't write a book like all these fucking influencers. I won't do any of that shit.
Are the influencers even writing books? I don't know about it. I don't pay attention to them.
They're trying to be like life coaches and shit.
Oh, life coaches,
like subscription-based life coaches, and write books like ebooks or whatever and distribute them. I'm like, I'm not going to do any of that shit. I'm just going to tell you what worked for me. And when there comes a time when I have to do some other shit that's going to keep me busy, then that time will come. But until then, like, yeah, I'll give my pearls of shit for free. I don't give a fuck. It's not just mine. I didn't make any of this shit up. This is stuff that's been around since like ancient times. This is stuff straight from the sacred texts.
Yes.
Straight from the Akashic records. Like, I just happen to package it in a way that's fucking understandable to your new age monkey brained ears, you know? Like, I just I just try to make it as relevant as possible to a person who's like from like, I don't know, 20 to 40 something, living in America, living in the world. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure a lot of us could relate to that. You know, for example, like, why would I say, like, when I say like self-alignment is important, I'm not telling you to go and be a saint with that. Like, you know what? If you want to be a psychopath, make sure you're fucking self-aligned. You know, make sure you're aligned in mind, body, and soul, you know, in a way that's like conducive to being a psychopath like, or a billionaire or whatever the fuck you want to be. Just because I personally have faith. I think if any given person does seek alignment like that and they find it, it doesn't matter what they try to do. Like, things are going to turn out okay.
Yeah.
For everyone else and for them, you know? I mean, there's only
good for everyone.
Yeah.
Good for the general world.
And I think there's only very few cases where it's like someone knows higher wisdom like that and decides to do truly evil shit with it. But even then, like, first of all, it's either one or the other. It's either they're not actually that like done with their learning, with their journey, or B, they're necessary.
Yeah.
You know, they're necessary forces and they know it, you know? Like, it could just be like, maybe not
Lucifer's behavior being at
like,
God's will and discretion and his choice or his vision.
like, imagine me like on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you know, like of like whatever. Like, we have the same values, you know, metaphysical and material, but yet the desire is different. Like, okay, let's say I'm 51% service to others and 49% service to self. What if he's like 51% service to self and 49% service? That makes a huge difference, you know? Yeah. Like, so yeah, it's like a complete divergence. Because that like single 1% difference is like a huge show of your character. Like, why? Like, why did you make that? Like, why did you decide this and not that? Like, why couldn't you sacrifice that 1%? Or why did you need it? Or why did you feel you needed it? Chris, alternate Chris, like, I need to know. Like, why did you become so dark after that one move? Like, because when there was a Chris that decided to consciously live 51% service to others, there was in an alternate universe a Chris that decided the opposite. So it's interesting shit, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. Sorry. All right, back.
All right, and we're back from the break.
Yep.
Okay, so
a very short one, but let's see how well I handle this. Where were we?
Talking about alternate Chris's. Also, you know, like, basically boiling down to we got to this point from like how people could be broken enough to have to overstimulate themselves with sex parties and kinks and shit.
Yeah.
How like you could become damaged if you're not aligned properly, so much so where it's like maybe you've amassed a lot of power, where, you know, in metaphysical, both like psychic energy and and material resources, and it's like, what do you do with all that? And you decide to do some like fucked up shit. But the truth is, like, you know, maybe it's impossible to do only 100% good things with that much wealth and power. Maybe just by nature of having it.
I feel like a lot of rich people could be doing a lot more fun and a lot more good.
What?
I don't mean charity. I feel like deeply rich people could just be playing pranks with their wealth, and it would be a better use of their money and their time.
Who says they don't?
Fair point.
Like,
I would
honestly,
rather it be known publicly. Were I rich?
I mean, maybe that's the thing. Like,
that's the thing. Good point.
Yeah, you're already known publicly. You know, you're already the rich guy. So it's like, how much more attention can you? If anything, you use your wealth to pay for the more expensive thing, which is secrecy.
Yes.
Which would be really fun. You get your own secret like prank layer. It's like underneath.
I like the idea of being a rich guy, and I spend my fortune just on more and more elaborate disguises so I can go out.
You know what's fucked up? Maybe this is how like rich people become creeps. Like,
Maybe
maybe they're like, yo, I have the money to buy like 10,000 camera drones to just like scan this whole town at all times, and suddenly you get really into it without like meaning to. You're just like, whoa, like Mrs. Jones is out cheating on her husband again. You're just watching, or it's like and then you start seeing like watching some guy's daughter pee, and it's like that's when you're like, you're already too far gone. You're like,
yeah. As a voyeur, you're reaching the next level.
Yep. They're like you start treating people as like your human fish tank.
Yeah.
Yep. So like when you're encouraging that kind of behavior in like a large audience of viewers of internet content, it could be pretty destructive. Not referring to anyone, or anything in particular.
Of course.
No, I'm kidding. I'm a huge fan of that shit. That was so cutting edge. No one did anything like that before. He was the first.
That's true. Or maybe there's some forerunner to it, but it didn't take off, or it wasn't as well done, or wasn't as known, or the technology wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, the major broadcast, news, television broadcasters of the 80s and 90s just didn't have the resources that Sam Hyde had in 2023.
Well, having a permanently streamed reality TV show that's functioning as a real one and also a grotesque parody of one is a fantastic concept.
God. I mean, season 1 was like just awesomeness. By season 2, it got so painful I couldn't even watch it.
I think a lot of people had that reaction.
I was like, this is just the Sanford, but that's what he planned for. That's what the whole point. That's the full transmission of the actual idea. It was supposed to be that. It was supposed to be that fucked up. Because, I mean, I get where he's coming from. I think this is because I'm not actually in his head. But if I had to guess, he heard of the Sanford prison experiment.
Yeah,
he was like, any relatively clever person who comes across that information that happened, you're like, I want to see that go down. Yeah, I want to experience that. I want to see that. Better yet, I want to facilitate that.
A reality TV show with shut-in hikikomori neets as the cast is a really brilliant idea. I'm sure done in East Asia.
That is some Sato shit.
Yeah, and the perpetual streaming of it. Still, a significant achievement in reality TV.
Yeah, I mean, they just had to make their money back. That's to me. If that's what I would think if I were them. I was like, as long as
he claims that he was losing a tremendous amount of money on it, but I'm skeptical of that.
Well, he had to already be like a millionaire, right?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like it's monetized in such a way to try that he should be able to make a profit from it. Yeah. Whatever bullshit about the cost of the servers sounds doubtful.
Yeah. God, what a world. What a time to be alive.
I know.
Yeah. So, I mean,
moving into 2025.
Oh, 2025.
That's going to have such a ring to it, the year.
Hells yeah. Let's see. 2025. What am I looking forward to? I really do think spirituality is going to continue to spread and grow. I think more and more people are you see it too, right?
I do.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. More people are definitely getting spiritual. And I think it's going to there's going to be a dark side to things. I don't think it's going to be all like sunshine and rainbows as the masses get more quote unquote spiritual, because we've seen all the bad shit that's happened before. But on top of that, people are going to be smarter about it. So not only are they're going to be smarter about the good parts of spirituality, they're also going to be more clever about the terrible parts of it, which is like, I don't know, spiritual bypassing, which is like, I don't give a fuck about my body. I don't give a fuck about my my actions on people and whatever, because none of it matters, right? Nothing matters. It's borderline nihilism, but it could be characterized by a state of bliss instead of depression, which is very, very dangerous, So like, yeah, spiritual bypassing is like blissful nihilism, which is horrible. That turns you into a psychopath.
Self-wireheading.
Yeah. So basically what this means ultimately in 2025, people get more spiritual. I think they're going to be connected. First of all, like, some of them are going to understand this and some aren't. They're going to be basically conjuring their own entities, because there's ultimately only one God, but in between you and God, there's a whole lot of things that could happen, and you could conjure them, or maybe they always existed and you conjuring them just summons them. Like, maybe it's not like you create them. It's not. Maybe they're all there. Anything you could ever possibly imagine just is out there in the subconscious realm, in the astral realm, or whatever. So yeah, when people get more spiritual, you're going to have a lot of guys conducting spiritual warfare. That's what it's going to turn into. It went from like meme wars to like meme wars with the intent of spiritually destroying and uplifting each other. Like, that's really what it's going to be like trolling from the fifth dimension and type shit. It's going to be like, it's basically going to be like my source of magic versus your source of magic. Like, if you're a Christian, or like a Mormon, and I'm like a Vedic practitioner or some shit, and not even like, I mean, really, it's not even like serious, because if you're serious, then there's really no reason to contact each other like that. But it's not even going to be like these people identify as like Christians or Vedic monks or something. They're just going to like take the metaphysical properties of it, and they're going to be like, are they going to use it? Because it's out there. They can't hide this shit anymore. You can't hide tapping into your flow state. That's literally a scientifically broken down methods for it now. Like there's ways to do it to like at will, and if people like practice it enough, and anyone could do this. I mean, like that's basically being able to control. It's like being able to feel happy or sad at will.
Yeah,
and it
having that level of total emotional control.
It makes it's okay if like 1 out of every 20 people, maybe that's already a lot. Maybe like 1 out of 100 people can do this.
Yeah,
but what happens when it's like every person? That's a brave new world. I mean, am I wrong here? Like,
no, it is. It's a unprecedented human spiritual evolution.
Yes, and this is what I'm banking on. I'm not even like really betting on it. It's just
you would put money down that this starts getting declared officially in 2025.
I mean, I wasn't even talking about getting it declared. It was just, to me, it was like a friend
okay,
asked me.
The trend will continue is what you're getting at.
Well, it's more like a friend asked me, right? What's the real meaning behind my like spiritual expression or expressions about like spirituality and spreading this kind of like knowledge and shit? And I said, like, I really do support a global spiritual evolution, like you said. And then he was like, that's a pretty tall order. And I was like, honestly, I don't feel like I'm forcing anything. I don't feel like I'm like fighting any kind of, I'm not rebelling against anything. I just feel like I'm leaning on something already like very close to tipping over. I don't think like I really have to force people to like change their minds. I think it's just, all I got to do is just do what I do. That's really all I have to do. And it's going to happen. Because like, it's not like I'm supposed to like force like myself, I'm supposed to force a revolution and become the face. No, that's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. Like it's you do this for yourself, and it's naturally going to spread. People look at you, be like, after a couple of years, and they'll be like, dude, what happened to your face? Like, you look 3 years younger. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's simply the semen retention.
It's more than that.
I know it's more than that. It's a whole spiritual experience and how you're living your life.
Yeah, it's just an alignment. It's that I feel like everyone has access to, no matter how old you are, no matter what race you are, no matter what fucking class you are. And this is one reason why, like, the powers that be would want this to remain occult dilution. Because think about it, like, you can't sell shit to content people. You can't sell shit you can't sell shit to people who know how to satisfy themselves. Like, it's hard. Really, really, really hard. Especially, if your whole business model is propped up on other people buying shit that would be propped up by other people buying shit that's propped up by other people buying shit. Eventually that whole table's gonna bust. Like,
yeah, perhaps it's economically devastating, but perhaps our economy is capable of handling it anyway.
I think there's
due to our fantastic ability to produce.
Well, Old Man Bernays was the guy who created the whole psychological angle of marketing and advertising and making you want to buy things and not just telling you to buy things. To make you want to buy something, that takes something that bypasses your sense of reason, logic, and rationality, which means it has to appeal to your emotions. How do you make something appeal to your emotions in terms of advertisements? Well, you don't sit there and try to convince their mind. You try to convince their heart. So if you depict images of, say, romance that every single person can relate to on a universal level that moves them emotionally, like a love scene or whatever, if you attach that to your product and you make the outcome of that little mini storyline a positive, satisfying outcome, they're going to emotionally tie your product with that positive outcome. Why does this work? Because your emotions bypass your rationality. Emotional stimulus doesn't give a fuck about how about the logical reasoning behind something. It will go straight to your heart without a single fucking thought. And they break how to do that down to a fucking science, where it doesn't matter if they don't convince every single person. They know how to broadcast it to 1 million people, and out of 1 million people, if 10,000 people get bought, that's enough to start it, you know. So like, that being said, what's happening now is we're getting smart, you know, as a species, like too smart.
Interesting how we've lived in an advertising regime since before the 1950s, Victorian era, but all these developments happened after World War II.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because here's what I like. This goes back to the chakra thing. When you're scared, when you're in a state of fear, you're not going to be able to, touch any of that in a person. When your global populace is scared, you're not going to be able to turn those little knobs, emotional knobs, in a person's body. So even if they did want to fuck with Aver, it wouldn't hit the same. You'd have too many people like, what the fuck do you mean sex and bullshit? Like, dude, we got a war going on, you know. So there's that. But you know, like, to actually sell shit and to bypass a person's logic and reasoning and appeal to their emotions, I mean, I don't even think that has to change. I don't even think that has to stop. I think the fact is, if more people realize and understand this is how it works, it wouldn't have to change. They could just stay the way it is, and people would just be smarter about it, which is beautiful, because it's not even like terrible, because I look at it this way: like, if there's an artistry to advertising something in a way that appeals to a person's emotions, that takes a great degree of, when I say artistry, I really mean empathy. You know, when you're able to touch a person's heart with your craft, that takes knowing not just that person on a very deep level, but knowing all people on a very deep level. You know, it's like being able to say broad statements like, honestly, at the end of the day, we just want our enslavement to mean something. Yeah. You know, like shit like that. Like, if you could just say that off the cuff, like, you're like, then you could say you're empathetic, you know, because then you're not tapping into like the body stuff, you know, like the individual shit, like, oh, what makes Carmen, what makes Chris. It's like, no, you're tapping into what makes us human, you know, like, what do we, and that takes like courage in a way, because you have to like dig deep into like the things that you're scared of, because that's the stuff that people tend to hide. People don't hide the individual shit. That's like easy to broadcast because only you can broadcast it as such. But when it comes to the universal human shit, that's the stuff we lock away, because that makes us vulnerable. It gives us other people ways to touch us in, like, you know, unpleasant ways sometimes. Like, that's why if you're gonna torture someone, you know, you wear a mask or something, like a bag over your head.
It puts up a literal physical barrier.
Yeah, you look like a demon to them.
Yeah,
you might as well be.
Yeah, true. That disconnect from the human case situation.
Yes, sir. So 2025, people are going to get more spiritual. It's going to get a little more chaotic. It's going to be awesome, though. I cannot fucking wait. I mean, I just want to, like, I just want to watch. You know, I don't even have to participate. I just want to see, because I know I don't have to participate. Like, I know there's really no need for me to like watch like a global populace becoming collectively more spiritual and like end up getting into spiritual warfare and psychic. That's gonna be sick to watch. I'm gonna be like, holy fucking shit. Like, you know how like Twitter subbing works between each other?
Yeah, you're just gonna sub think other people's thoughts.
So imagine like before, like 2 steps ahead, like you're just posting tweets and it's like, who the fuck are they even talking about? And then they live through something and they're like, fuck, he was talking shit about me the whole time before I even
imagine just becoming a psychic Patrick Bateman. You just go around mentally tormenting the homeless.
Not just mentally, like spiritually, physically.
Tormenting them. Well, I was gonna say physically, but you're just beaming negative thoughts at them.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because if you fuck with someone mentally or spiritually, it does affect them physically. It affects their body. And if you fuck with someone physically, it does affect their mental body, and it does affect their spirit. Like, it's all connected. That's the whole point. This is why I say self-alignment between those 3 things are important, because those 3 things are intrinsically connected when it doesn't look like they are. We think they're separated, but they're not. They're intrinsically connected, but they are different. They're separate. They're not separate, but they're different, which is a funny thing to think about, you know? Meaning, like, the way your spirit body changes in appearance, it could manifest in your physical body. which I'm a very firm believer in.
I agree.
Your cell expression is weird like that, you know? And I know this is the case because I've run into people like who haven't seen me specifically in like 2 to 3 years, and they were like, "Dude, you look very different." And I'm like, "Do I?" And they were like, "Yeah, I believe it." I mean, people who I see more often than that, they won't be
The way
able
you
to.
carry yourself. Yeah, I see. When you see someone a lot, you don't. When you take a break from seeing someone, you are always struck by the differences in them.
The big one was my boss. When I saw
Yeah.
my boss recently, he like really like went in on it. He was like, "Damn, dude, you look very different." I was
Yeah.
like, shit. Okay. So yeah, that's I'll take that as a positive sign. But yeah, I do really, and which I mean, I don't know if people would believe this, but I really did like just envision it first. I was like, this is what I really do kind of want to look like, and this is the way I want to be like, and this is the way I want to feel like, and this is the way I want to think like. So let's get started. I know I can't do it overnight, but every day I'll just keep doing it, and I did. 1% better every day than yesterday makes you at the end of the year 3,700 times better than you were last year. Because the interest compounds.
Yes. Damn, what a state of being. And that Taoist kind of continuous self-improvement, self-mastery.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you look at martial arts, it's really supposed to be a continuous cycle of training. It's like we do our whole training routine. It's like, all right, senpai, now what?
Yeah.
We do it again. Like, what do you think this is? Like, like we fucking do it again. Like, same with Kung Fu. If you look at their forms, they do their shit. And it's all supposed to like, all right, when you get to the end, that's like the beginning of the same thing, you know, and they could just do it endlessly. It's flow. Music works like that
energy,
too.
Yes. The flow of life. So let's see. Feel more spiritual. Any more banal predictions about 2025?
I think as people get more spiritual, the people who refuse it are gonna get way more fucked up. Like they're gonna get way more fucking dark, sociopathic, psychopathic. They're gonna get way more unstable. They're gonna get more violent, and that I think might be a big spiritual war. Like I'm not worried about the people like getting into it who are spiritual between each other over their own like my God could beat up your God, you know. But I'm worried about the people who do get spiritual and the people who choose because there are going to be people who actively reject it for obvious reasons. Like if I make the statement right now, like we're the same soul living out different lifetimes in different bodies. Imagine being like a rape victim or like a victim of like some abuse. Like you can't stomach that. You're telling me I'm the same soul as that piece of shit? Yeah, dude, it's tough. Everyone, and I know this because I have abusers in my life. I've had, you know, like, so for me to say this, I don't say this lightly. You know, like I completely understand the moral implications. I understand like the strength of character you actually need to be able to embrace, no matter who you are. Yeah. Everyone has some abuser in their life that they don't want to identify with at all, which actually does impact their material character a lot in terms of how they develop in life. But just saying, like, if you could get over that, you will find freedom. You will find truly the end to your suffering. Because if you could do that to that person in your life, you could do it to anybody. You could diffuse anybody as like a destructive force, no matter what they do to you, whether they torture you, whether they kill you, it doesn't matter. Because if you could understand and identify them as to who they truly are and relative to who you are, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do. And they know this too. Like when people come across you and with this understanding and you're holding it and you're embodying that frequency, other people just come across and they try to do, first of all, they'll try to argue with you. And very quickly they'll be like, this is fucking pointless. They'll be like, what am I doing? Like he's just, you know, I try to like talk shit about his outfit and he's complimenting mine. Like the fuck. Yeah. You know, he's thanking me. Like, what the fuck is that? You know, it's like, it makes them feel weird. It makes them feel like fucked up. And, you know, especially as a guy, also girls act weird about it too. Girls,
yes, that's true.
Once girls see that you get it, they try to follow you around, right? And then you're like, sorry, I'm evolved now. You know, like I'm too evolved for you, for the likes of you. No, I wouldn't do that. I would never turn up free pussy. Fuck that.
Yeah. Well, I would. I've turned it down many times. Anyway, I asked for a banal prediction, but you gave me a fantastical one, which I appreciate.
Was that fantastical?
Well, I meant something. I mean, when I said a banal prediction, I mean like a boring small detail, like this movie will do well, this kind of car will be good. I think people are really going to get back into hats.
I think
I made a prediction that was small.
I think Nintendo's gonna release a new fucking Etch-a-Sketch.
Ooh, okay. That's what I'm looking for.
That's pretty
what I'm
banal,
looking for.
right?
Yeah.
Like when I say Etch-a-Sketch, I mean
Banal.
just some fucking portable, watered down tablet. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that will be Switch 2, I guess.
Yeah, that's all they do. They're like a mafia that makes money off of watered down tablet junk. Like,
Well, but it's clearly they have the right idea.
hells yeah, that shit,
Yeah.
that shit is cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Just the right amount of proprietary tech involved in their products. Beautiful
Bringing
thing.
my Nintendo Switch to the opera and playing while listening contently.
Yeah. Oh, I think I think ketamine's gonna get bigger. Unfortunately, it's gonna.
Ketamine's already big in New York City, but if it goes outside of New York, yes.
Oh, it's gonna make people so retarded. It's gonna be so sick. Fuck, music's gonna get a lot better.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
Hold on, guys. There's a knock at the door. This is one of those scary apartment moments.
Yeah, knock at the door. Forgive me for not doing anything. I assumed it was nothing.
No, I don't expect you to do anything.
Well, yes.
Yeah, so what were we talking about? Fucking the Nintendo and
Yeah.
Let's music. See. Music's gonna get better. No, it's not gonna get better.
No, it's gonna get worse.
Movies are gonna fucking suck.
Yep, they will.
They already do.
I think film genuinely is a dead art form, or dying, dying, shifting.
No,
but I'm pessimistic about the future of film.
I am very optimistic. Here's why.
Okay,
right? How long is a movie?
2 hours. 1.5. It's better when it's 1.5. Now they're all 2.5 hours long. I want shorter movies.
1.5 to maybe 3 hours. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So people actually like sit down for 2.5 hours out of their 12-hour day, pretty much, to watch a fucking movie, and that's amazing, right?
One time,
no. I'm just saying that not even anymore, or not as much these days. But the fact that people did that at all was pretty crazy.
They used to, when movie theaters first came out, you would sit down for like a night at the movie theaters for 4-6 hours.
Okay, so I'm just going a roundabout way to make a point. I hope it's
Yeah.
a cool point. But what I'm trying to say is like, now look at this podcast.
Yeah.
It's about like an hour and a half to 2 hours long per episode, and yet people fucking watch it. There's at least like 60 subscribers that like, you know,
Yeah.
peep the episode, and there's very few even still that still watch it. That's basically like a movie's length of shit. Now what I'm trying to get at is eventually it's going to click in people's minds, like maybe not me as a YouTube content creator or a podcast or whatever, or a podcast with a video element or whatever, but it's going to click in more of these people's minds where it's like, wait a minute, I'm basically making the same amount of content as a full-length feature film. So what's to stop me from making a full-length feature film if I could already capture people's attention for an hour and a half to 2 hours? What the fuck is going to stop me?
The number of people involved in making a film, the amount of money.
I know, no, for now, yes. As of now, yes, because there's all these like logistical factors that block an individual from doing. However,
go on.
That's going to change. That's already changing. You know, that's changing as we speak. Like people are. Eventually, you're going to have a single person able to make a fucking movie.
Yeah,
like a decent movie.
Perhaps AI generation will get to the point where it'll just generate based on past things, whatever movie you like to see.
It doesn't have to. You know why?
Why?
Because it has access to the sacred texts. Because all these movies, all these stories, all these great novels, they're all pretty much somehow a reflection or a rip off of like the most ancient religious stories and divine texts and all that shit. It's the same shit. It's just recycled. You're right. It is recycled, but guess what? It's been recycled since those ancient times. So it's like if we think like our shit's so novel that AI is just gonna rip and copy all our shit. What the fuck do you think we've been doing with like the Bible and the Quran and the fucking Torah and the Sumerian tablets?
There's something about human creativity that rote memorization actually helps with. You're able
it's
to
a
draw.
pattern.
Yeah, it's a pattern. You're able to draw associations. You have this broad breadth of knowledge to draw from.
It might be encoded in our DNA.
Yes, I could see that.
Yeah. So that being said, like the whole pattern thing, like recognizing patterns, pattern recognition is a uniquely human trait. Advanced pattern recognition.
Yeah, a big part of IQ is pattern recognition.
I'd say that's the biggest part.
Yeah, it is actually. That's why IQ tests like Raven's matrices are largely about patterns and about how quickly you solve them.
So when I was like, when I was uninitiated, when I was a mere muggle, I would say like I would have said IQ tests aren't that important. Oh, emotional intelligence is more important. But I'm like, what the fuck do you think emotional intelligence is? It's literally
mostly general intelligence plus some personality traits.
It's also recognizing emotional patterns in people and yourself.
Yeah.
You know? Like, dude, it's all pattern
Usually
recognition.
people who have good emotional intelligence also have good intelligence. And then another part of it is like there are intelligent people who are low on like extroversion or agreeability just as a personality trait, and they're less competent at emotional intelligence, but most of the time just having intelligence provides it.
Well, to have good character despite having good intelligence.
Also, it's just completely unreplicable. There's no way to measure it.
Well, I think it's all the whole nature and nurture thing. I think IQ stuff is definitely nature, but the character and intuition stuff is definitely nurture, probably.
I think both are just varying degrees.
Well, here's why I think
my inclination in both cases is to think more nature, but yeah, intelligence for sure is far more nature than nurture.
I think intuition is more nurture.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
Because with your intuition, it's the only reason why what leads me to point to this is because of how easy it is to damage a person's intuition, sense of self, confidence, emotional stability. Like all those things that have to do with your metaphysical self or whatever, like it's so easy to disrupt that shit. I mean, at least from where I'm standing, like it looks very easy. You just got to like blast them with the same subliminal message every fucking second of their life. Easy. You just gotta fucking get them hooked onto like all sorts of fucked up, depraved sexual shit on the easy. You gotta get them like fucking hooked on like really, really, really bad food and really shitty music and movies. Perfect. Mwah. Like, you got them right where you want them, easy. Like, so it's like, that being said, like, yeah, I feel like fucking it's really easy to disrupt someone's intuition, which is why I think it's very nurture based.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see that. I see what they're saying. I see it very strong. Like,
yeah. So I think like IQ is very like nature. But
yes.
What to balance, to temper that out, you need the right experience.
Yeah, you can definitely heavily stunt someone's IQ through the way you raise them.
Like if you nurture them and like helicopter parent them.
Yeah, and also like much in the same way that malnutrition limits your height.
Yeah.
But if you get good nutrition, you can't just keep feeding a kid more and more until he grows to 7 feet tall.
No.
You reach a natural human height. If I was malnourished, I would be several inches shorter than I am.
Yeah.
And most humans throughout history were malnourished just due to the nature of farming at the time.
Yeah.
Whereas now our post-industrial society has such a fantastic ability to feed people.
Yeah, but
you see all those kids from the Midwest, they grow a lot bigger than their great-grandfathers ever did.
Yeah, true. But they also feed us a lot of shit now.
Yeah.
And I think the worst sin of all is the quote-unquote medication.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I get the argument. Oh, it saves lives. All right.
Yeah.
It helps me do my job. It helps me live my life. Okay, what's your fucking job? Like fucking pulling a lever for some psychotic company? Okay, great. Like
you create spreadsheets for a company.
Like awesome.
Yeah, it feels all like a lot of make work.
I could take care of my kids. Oh, okay. So you couldn't do that without pills. Why? Like because you want to kill them? Do you want to murder your kids when you're not on these pills? Do you think they're not your kids when you're not on these pills? Like, do you want to like throw them off a cliff when you're not on these pills? Like, what's the deal here? Why do you have to take? Oh, so I could stay in my job. Exactly. Like
yeah.
Yeah, the world's that I'm not gonna blame on any individual. That I'm just gonna like see. That's almost demonic. It's really easy to point to like a dark entity looking at that shit and be like, but it's true that maybe it's just so complex that my human mind, even like my limited personal consciousness, can't really comprehend it. But I am kind of leaning towards some kind of like maybe AI machine god, or maybe some kind of interdimensional entity, maybe some something that exists in a
Maybe something that is emerging or was always there waiting or waiting to be formed or to be seen and is now finding a form it never had before.
yeah, and within our realm.
Perhaps it's achieving its own kind of intelligence.
But this is what I'm saying. I mean, I think like Whitehead wrote about this. How like if you look at any structure in society, like a metaphysical structure, whether it's like political or whatever, like a thought-based or ideal one, it's you got to treat these like social structures as living things, like as thinking living things, because honestly they become entities. And the idea is if you put psychic energy, like psychic intention into something, it becomes alive. It becomes a like a metaphysical entity that you're giving life to. And once if you really internalize that idea, it's like shit. Like, what kind of life are you gonna live? I mean, are you gonna live a life of fear? Like, oh, I'm scared. I'm creating. No, you're gonna have to embrace it like real quick. I mean, what else? What are you gonna do? Be afraid of it your whole life? Like, no.
Yeah.
You gotta master it, and then you realize it's okay because there's nothing else in life really you can master before this anyway.
Yes.
So yeah, 2025, banal predictions. Let's see. I think less music's gonna come out. Like less people give a fuck about. Less people are gonna want to make music.
In general, like people don't have bands anymore. They make their music on Bandcamp.
Nah, not even. I'm glad people are getting more. It kind of trims away the fat. Like, you know, when AI comes out, it's like, oh man, I can't just make it as a bedroom. You know.
Yeah, maybe you'll be forced to have bands again. I don't know.
Exactly. I think so. They have to. Cause like,
or maybe no one will join a band, or like they'll only listen to music that already exists or is created.
I think it's going to teach people a lot about music. Let's say like in 2025, like what the norm becomes AI generated music. AI generated music becomes so good that people are going to be like, why the fuck would I bother listening to anything but this? This is better.
Yeah.
So they do that and that becomes a thing.
You're going to miss going out and seeing other people in person.
Hells yeah. Exactly.
You can have your AI musician listening parties where you show up and a new track list, a new song playlist is generated every time
by your favorite robot.
Yeah.
So when you
your
see
favorite robot DJ,
eventually you're gonna want to be like novel. You're gonna want novelty, you know. And the old shit gets novel after the new shit comes out, you know. And it also, like, what it does, it teaches people more about like music. For example, when you have like even a band, let's say a band comes out, and they use AI to generate their records, but they learn how to play every single song and like recreate it perfectly live, just because you know the AI created them as their sound, just, you know, whatever. And even maybe it even made their live performances better just from trying to replicate a more perfect sound. But anyway, it would teach people what music really is. It doesn't really matter, and in fact, it would teach musicians about what music really is. You know, if like, so what? Like, does that not count, right? If you used AI, if you wrote the songs, performed it, and used AI to produce it, be like, all right, AI, listen to the song, and I want you to produce a banging fucking recording out of this. You know, like, and it's like, all right, feed me the stems, and you sing, you plug a mic into it, you plug your guitar, your bass, and your drums into it, and you do it, play the song, and then the AI is like, all right, I'm doing it, and boom, it spits it out like a perfect quality record. What the fuck is wrong with that? And like, what does that really tell you about music? You know, in terms of like how we consume it, and the reason why there's like a difference between consuming it through speakers and a pair of headphones, as opposed to listening to it live. And there's nothing wrong with listening to it through speakers. In fact, it could be better in some cases. For some
I
reason.
I just ask anyone on the train who listens to music through their phone speakers.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, yeah, there's something about headphones. I don't know. It is nice to just have an actual speaker.
Yeah, headphones.
Not having something covering my ears up physically with a better control of the dimensions, but
yeah. So how do you think in 2025 you'll be cycling a bit more?
Yeah, I will.
Fuck yeah.
Hopefully consistently. Other than that, I have no expectations or knowledge of where 2025 is going to go.
Oh my god, 2025 is gonna be let's see, chaotic year. It's gonna be a very chaotic year. I say this because it's divisible by fives, and if we're going by 5-year cycles,
Mm.
it's fives are chaotic as fuck.
Yes. 2025 also is a great sci-fi year.
Yeah,
It sounds like I'm sure many things have been said, but I can't think of anything directly said in it. Um,
I'm trying to look up what 9, because like if you add 2 plus 2 plus 5, you get 9. So I'm trying to figure out what numerology is, because I know 2023,
yeah,
the numerology of it was 7, which is important because my life path number based on my birthday numbers boils down to 7, and that's why I think it was like pretty significant. I don't know. And because it was around the time when like a lot of shit happened for me. Then 7 represents like the year of the mystic, like the year of wizards and magic and the magician. Then 8 was like the number of the path of kings, you know, when
Yeah.
leaders would rise up. And 9 can symbolize the end of one phase or the fulfillment of a cycle, which prepares you for the next phase. The number 9 is the highest value single digit number and can indicate a journey of learning and growth, a meaningful life. People influenced by the number 9 are said to be conscious and engaged in their lives and to set goals that bring fulfillment, compassion, and creativity. People with the number 9 are said to be compassionate, patient, generous, understanding, and creative. Humanitarianism. Old soul. People with the number 9 are sometimes considered to be old souls and to be seen as having it all together. The number 9 is said to help heal and release emotions and energy blockages. So if you put that on, like, if you scale that out in a cosmic number, it's pretty much saying, yeah, good stuff. You know, the numbers 3, 6, and 9 usually spelled good stuff. But again, if you go by 5-year cycles, that'll be pretty chaotic. But if you think about the numerology stuff, maybe it will be a more compassionate, more transitory time. Like maybe it'll be less about the old and more about in with the new. Because I feel like that's what this year and last year was about, and it was so painful for a lot of people because they had to like separating the wheat from the chaff, you know. And that, I don't mean like literally with people. I mean like internally, like this part of me, as much as I care about it, as much as I'm attached to it, it doesn't serve me anymore. And to cut it away can be very painful, you know.
Well, let me ask per your tarot reading, a time of change that you gave me on Friday.
Yeah, that's wow. I forgot about that, but yeah,
That was a good reading.
Yeah, I got a new tarot deck today.
Yeah, let me see it or hold it up to the camera for class.
No, I mean they could look it up.
Yeah, okay.
It's called it's the Radiant Rider Right deck.
Yeah, Radiant Rider Waite deck, right? A U.S. Game System Incorporated.
Yeah, Radiant Rider Waite deck. Yeah, tarot.
Yeah.
It's getting easier for me to memorize some shit. The minor arcana is like easier to remember, but the major arcana sometimes trips me up. But I think like some of them are pretty much self-explanatory.
Yeah.
3 of Cups, 3 harmony, union, friendship,
Women,
togetherness.
3 pussies.
Yeah,
No, wait, cups or chalices?
cups are chalices, same thing.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so what's crossing that? This is the theme. So whoever's listening to this, I'm getting this collective theme that there's a person out there listening where the major theme of this reading is going to be about unity, friendship, coming together, connectedness, community, sharing. And what crosses that? What's like blocking that or getting in the way of that? And we have the 5 of Pentacles. The 5 of Pentacles is a time of poverty, is a time of scarcity, is a time of not having enough. It's a time of chaos, uncertainty. You're uncertain about your material future. You don't know if you're going to be able to maintain your monetary stability, and that's what's really getting in the way of your community, of you getting, you know, finding intimacy in your community and people in your family or friends maybe. So it's basically material factors that's getting in the way of that. The 5 of Pentacles. So let's look at the root cause and look at the trigger, and that's going to be the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups could represent an overindulgence. If this is what's causing it, what could mean that you're in your situation now where you're getting socially blocked because of being poor or materially scarce, because the Queen of Cups represents just not really caring about logic and rationality, and just more so about being being within it. And the cups represents intimacy, connection, introspection. So maybe you overindulged a bit on introspection, maybe you overindulged a bit on love and like intimate connection, and now it's causing you to be in this position of, you know, social, like scarcity block socializing. The past is expressed by the reverse Empress, which means you're getting out of this. You transitioned out of this state of power, of control, which led you to this present state where you're kind of blocked by material conditions brought onto your overindulgence. So you left your Empress state. Let's see the overall attitude, because, you know, the way the cross is shaped, there's as above, so below. So above, you have the Ten of Swords, which is marked by a transition. So basically, you're pretty much just getting over about being the smartest guy in the room. Like you're kind of over it. I'm feeling this energy where people who experience Ten of Swords energy are kind of just used to being right all the time, and they're like, you know what? I'm over it. I don't even care about being right anymore. But this could be scary, because it's like, well, if I don't give a fuck about being right and the smartest guy anymore, or the smartest person anymore, then what do I care about? You know, so that creates a period of uncertainty. So it's an overall attitude of uncertainty. Like, where am I going to end up now that I don't give a fuck about being a genius or an overachiever? So this is where it leads to our future, which is the reverse Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands represents security. It's building basically a foundation that's supposed to protect you in terms of chaos, in times of instability, in terms of things that would block your creativity. It's basically learning how to use your creative energy, your creative manifestation, as a shield or as a source of protection. And this currently is supposed to be your outcome. However, that's being blocked by the fact that through your overindulgence, you ended up in a material state and you exited your Empress energy. Okay, so now we do the staff reading. So this leads to how you view yourself. This is your internal state. This is your self-directed perception, if you directed the energy of awareness to yourself. And that's going to be the Hanged Man. That's an enigmatic card, you know, because that really means letting go, and is in a sense of like dying, I guess. So maybe this will be dark to say, but maybe some of you feel like unaliving yourselves, or maybe some of you feel like just leaving your job. You're like, fuck this job, I'm so done with it. Maybe your inner state just represents a feeling of like, you know what, I don't mind hanging upside down. I'm just gonna let it all go and just go face first to the ground. I don't give a fuck. So that could be your inner state right now, and that's the bottom of the staff. The next step up is how others view you, or how your external environment is affecting you in terms of like conscious energy. So, or how others may view you typically. So we have the reverse Ten of Cups. So that could mean others view you as just getting out. It could just mean you getting out of a solid relationship. Like it could mean like others are viewing you getting out of a solid place in connection. You know, like maybe they think they've seen you once in a good relationship or whatever, or in a good union, or maybe in a good stable family state, and now they see you transitioning out of that. So maybe your external environment is pushing you out of that. Maybe you're currently in a solid relationship, and maybe you find that your friends or your social setting is kind of pushing you out of this relationship. You know, maybe it's kind of like telling you like, oh, maybe you got some friends like talking shit about your current partner. You know, maybe that could mean like you got your own inner voice in your head talking shit about your current partner. Or maybe it could mean you got a lot of people that just don't like your current partner, you know? So basically this reverse Ten of Cups, it could mean you're transitioning out of it, or it could also mean you're coming into it. You know, it could also mean you're coming into this energy. But I'm getting it that it's kind of blocked because it came out reverse. So I'm going to go with the, you know, my first intuited interpretation. The next step up is guidance. What do we do about all this? So for guidance, it's reverse Three of Pentacles. And what this is basically saying is you have to clear a blockage, because if it's a guidance card that's being reversed, that means it's being blocked by this energy. And 3 is usually defined, well, 3 is an early card, right? Because 1, 2, and 3 is an initiation period. So in order to initiate into your, whatever you want to call it, healing, elevation, ascension, into your Pentacles energy, which is defined by materialism, material, practical needs, you know, whatever, then you have to clear that. So you have to clear your initiation phase, and you have to clear your inner harmony, mind, body, and soul. So clear that blockage. If you could do that, well, then we could get to your overall outcome, which is the King of Wands. Wow. Okay, so assuming you're able to clear this blockage from your external to your overall outcome. So if we were able to say this Hangman is fine, because once you let go, then you're able to say, or you're already in a state of letting go, and you just got to release your 10 of Cups energy, which is honestly this if you reverse it, this could just mean you have to like leave a shitty relationship, or maybe leave a shitty living situation, or union, or a job, or social setting, or a group of friends, whatever. This just means like to reverse that, to make it like go from blocked to cleared, to turn that back up. Maybe you just have to like make a clean break from your cups, from your family or whatever it is, because cups generally represents connection, unity, community, love. It's a chalice, as we all know, and nurturing. Maybe you have to leave your nurturing energy, your nurturing little state, and then you could block your 3 of Pentacles, and then you'll be able to initiate further into material wealth. Maybe that you could work on clearing up your 5 of Pentacles cross, so you could tap into your 3 of Cups, and then you become the King of Wands as the overall outcome. And once you're the King of Wands, well, you become the authority of magic, manifestation, and creation. And thank you very much. That was today's tarot reading.
Nice. Very nice, man.
Yeah.
I ain't very good at these.
Well, I mean, once you remember like the fucking, the things, it's like comic books. These are just different like pieces of comic books and like in cards, and I could just like write it out. It's like, oh, okay, I see the story. It's fun. Like I was thinking, like if I was ever a writer and I had to write stories, this is how I would just write them. Like I would just shuffle
it's divination. It's same thing you do with AI. If you're talking to your AI all the time, that's another form of divination.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Like if I just needed to write a comic book, that's a great idea. Honestly, it's like, all right, what's the main thing of the story? Ace of Wands. Okay, so it's about initiating how to make someone become a magical wizard. What's getting in his way? Oh, it's the fucking 8 of Pentacles. Oh shit, he's overworked. He's too hard. He's working too. It's awesome. It's easy.
It helps. It's like a one of those Tibetan prayer wheels where you spin it and you get different alms or different different verses of a hymn to sing.
Yeah, and I think these things become more like intuitive for.
Oh fuck! Sorry, man.
It's all good. No, you're good. There's paper towels right there.
Yeah.
No, I was like just saying, like I think it becomes more easy for you, like the more you access your intuition. Yeah. So it's like you don't have to worry that. No, you're good. You don't have to worry about that. Right? Okay. It wasn't even that much.
Yeah.
Nah, man. All right. So in case you're listening, guys,
I knocked over my beer.
He just spilled like a tiny bit of beer. It wasn't even that much. And I have like hardwood floors, like it's not even carpet, so it doesn't fucking matter. I forgot what you call this pattern. Like I think it's called parquet. Paraquet. Do you know what this floor pattern's called?
I know.
Shit. Carmen doesn't know either.
Paraquet sounds like a good name though.
Paraquet. It's paraquet.
Yeah, parrot wet.
Yeah. So
how long have we been recording for?
We still got a bit of time left, like a few minutes.
Okay.
So like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So what were we talking about? Something interesting. I know that. I was pretty engaged in it.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, for my distraction. Writing a comic book through tarot.
Yeah, tarot cards.
And using it for storytelling, divination.
Also, like, this is also like a little devil advice. If you're a guy, if you learn tarot, it can help.
Oh, yeah, you probably fuck all the time, huh?
No. Well, I mean,
yes. No, I'm sorry for interrupting. Please continue.
I'm just saying tarot could help you get the ladies.
Yeah.
Like, because the ladies love that shit.
Yeah, bitches love this mumbo jumbo. No, that was overly cruel. But the women do love this kind of stuff. And being able to do a tarot reading is something girls go nuts for.
Well, that's because women are generally more intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Women are
very true.
Women are better with emotions. Like they're more masters. They have higher mastery over like the emotional state.
Yeah.
That being said, as a guy, it can be practiced.
Yeah.
I mean, women are just naturally better at it. Some women can naturally become terrible at it just from like sheer ignorance or because out of practice or
Yeah.
they're just never taught or they're unaware.
Yes.
Guys can be
But women are far more intuitive.
yeah, and guys,
Intuition is for women what upper body strength is for men.
yeah, but guys like they can learn to become more intuitive, and women
Yeah.
can learn to become stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not like to the extent of guys, and maybe guys can't even become more
As intuitive as women.
maybe they can't. I mean, I would
Or
think
most men can't, but yes.
I could think of a few examples of why that is. For example, a guy can't really nurture a baby in the womb
Yeah.
unless they're one of these newfangled genderoids. I don't know.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to add that.
No, it's quite all right. I agree.
Because now I'm thinking of like the guy with like the buzz cut hair and the beard and the pregnant belly, and I'm like, oh, great. Like,
Well, that's the opposite. That's a trans man.
yeah.
But yes, it's true. A trans woman can never get pregnant yet with modern technology. But perhaps can never have the same level of intuition or parental upbringing or rearing. Never truly love the child like a mother. But
Yeah. So tarot will help you get laid.
yeah.
If you're a guy, learn how to do some tarot readings, and you got to learn. You got to learn to do it well. Which, honestly,
You're convincing, but yes.
well, it's. I mean, I'm not really.
I'm sorry. I keep talking this down. I don't mean that. I mean
No.
You're,
No, I get what you mean. It's just I wish I could take credit for that. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I wish I could be like, great, I am convinced. No, it's like it's honestly just like remembering certain fucking
yeah.
frameworks, I guess.
Frameworks, yeah, certain certain tropes. You'll remember certain tarot tropes.
But what's weird is like how easy it is to do that with these cards. You know, like that's the eerie part. You're like, huh. I mean, they are ancient,
Yeah.
old as fuck. But yeah, I mean,
That is a skill you develop.
yeah. Oh yeah, like for sure, and it's fun. It's fun. I mean, do I do it for myself that often? Not really. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it's just fun to it's just fun to see how it's not really about like literally telling the future. It's just more about understanding that reality is downstream from subconscious,
Yeah.
and if you understand, or consciousness in general. So if
Just
you
playing out a reading is going to have an effect on reality.
yeah. But it's not even that. It's just like really what it boils down to is your breathing. Like if you as your individual being, if you want to know the most fundamental core behavior you engage in no matter what you're doing, like whatever you're trying to change or whatever you're trying to build or create, it starts with your breath. Your breath is the first and foremost thing. Like when it comes to like advanced mechanics and like anything that involves dexterity,
Yeah.
like being a surgeon, being like a butterfly knife spinner or a pen spinner or a fucking
Valley song.
whatever, or you know, if you're an instrumentalist or whatever, like you need to be able to control your breathing. And usually what happens is when people are under pressure with something, they usually hold their breath, and that's where they fuck up.
Yes, I've noticed that myself.
Yeah, that's what makes you not relax. The more relaxed you are, the easier it is to breathe, which is why you got to practice something to get good at it. Because the more you practice it, the more you relax you get. The more relaxed you get, the more easier it is to breathe while you do it.
Yeah.
And if you breathe while you do it, you'll never fucking have the heart racing. You'll never have the sweats. You won't get all that shit. If you control your breathing, that is. Because when you get nervous, what some people do is they'll breathe too fast. When you breathe too fast, that increases your heart rate. So the way to increase and decrease your heart rate, it's actually pretty cool. Basically, when your inhales are shorter than your exhales, that slows your heart rate. When your inhales are longer than your exhales, that increases your heart rate. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's basically like, it's also, you could look at it as like breathing really slow or breathing really fast. But yeah, if you breathe really slow, that slows your heart rate. It's easy. That's how they teach you, I think, to fall asleep on command in the military. You slow your heart rate first. That puts you in a more relaxed state, relaxes your muscles, and then you could just doze off. But if you want to be alert, you could do it through your breathing. And they teach this in some kung fu too, in martial arts or whatever. I just discovered this because I like to research this shit. You know, I'm a psycho like that. Like if I get a tournament, I'm like, I want to learn how to control my heart rate. Like, you know, but it's cool. Like you can do this shit with just your breathing, and your breathing is very powerful. And you realize everything you do starts with your breathing.
Yeah. Chi, breath energy.
And the interesting part is we just don't fucking think about it.
Yes.
But we do it. So that's how you should treat everything you want to get good at, whether it's kung fu, whether it's bike riding, sword fighting, chess, playing an instrument. If you can make it like breathing, you'll be as good at it and you're really good at breathing, aren't you? You could control how fast you can breathe. You could hold your breath. You could breathe. You know, like it's natural. It's something you do so often, every single second, you don't even know you're doing it. You know, like that's what you got to like strive to make everything like breathing. Whether it's reading, whether it's dating or fucking, or whether it's eating. You know, if you make everything as effortless as possible. And effortless usually means being efficient, you know? Less wasted movements, like do less of this, do less of that. That's what Asians do. Asians aren't really stressed and like pressed or like really like anal about when they do things exact. It's never like that, right? It's never really, it's just mostly like, okay, so if I want to do something and I just cut out all the like unnecessary movements, it just looks like this. That's it. And that could seem like very anal and neurotic, but it's not. Neurotic would be like all these crazy extra movements, you know? That's neurotic.
Superfluous movements.
Because I mean,
which is why I have a lot of them.
First of all, I'm a fan of superfluous movements because it offers an avenue of expression, and I love that. I think that's artistry, and there's artistry in that. However, I don't like it when people do it unconsciously. I mean, it's not that I dislike it even. It's because I did it. When I did it unconsciously, it would be like destructive. I would break some of my shit, you know, without even meaning to, and I'd be like, fuck, this is annoying. You know, but martial arts helped with that a lot, actually. It helped me like really cut out a lot of unnecessary movements, which is very meditative in itself, actually. One of the hardest things for me is like I'm a chronic leg shaker.
Yeah, same.
And what's weirdest to me is when I'm doing it when I'm alone. It's when I like shake my leg alone, and that's when I notice it the most. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm not even nervous. Like, what do I have to be nervous about? So there's stuff like that, but it's I don't think this is purely neurotic to like. I don't think like that's ruminating. I think it's always just a passing thought. But I do think it's like it's an interesting practice to be able to observe your own habits instead of being your habits. You know?
Yes.
Anyway, we got a few more minutes. We got any closing statements?
No. I'm not crashing out, but crashing hard. Riding the bike, a very pleasant experience to have ridden it consistently today.
Yeah, in one day.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Got any plugs?
Nah, I have no plugs, man.
All right, you can follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, at Crumwell Forever. CRUMWELLFOREVER.
Or you could follow him on his other account is at ELONMUSK.
Nice.
No, it's actually at the real Donald Trump.
Yeah. Real Donald Trump, yeah. Good night, man.